Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Barclay Goodrow, and Adam Fox all play in a charity hockey game, the HT40 Foundation's Shoulder Check Showcase. We talk about what was a wonderful night in Stamford, Connecticut, and what was done for an excellent cause. All this and more on today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers.
You're Locked On the New York Rangers, your daily podcast on the New York Rangers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, Blue Shirts fans, to episode number 880 of the Locked On New York Rangers podcast. I'm your host, John Chick. Just want to thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. And today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And we are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as I just mentioned, going to be talking, doing something a little bit different here today. We're going to be talking about an event that was held in Stamford, Connecticut at Terry Connor's Ice Rink just last night, Thursday night to be exact, the HT40 Foundation's Shoulder Check Showcase. And they have a motto that reads, reach out, check in, make contact. That's obviously kind of the theme of the charity. HT40 for anybody who might be unfamiliar with it. And I did talk about this about a week and a half ago on the podcast, but for anybody who might have missed that or just needs a little bit of a refresher, basically it was established in honor of the late Hayden Thorsen. Hayden was an 18-year-old hockey player from Darien, Connecticut, passed away tragically last year. And then last night in Stamford, HT40 presented the first Shoulder Check Showcase. And the reason I say first is, just kind of being there and being in the environment and listening to everybody talk about this and seeing the turnout of fans that were there and also all the different professional hockey players that were there, including the 4 Rangers, actually 5 because Jonathan Quick was there. He just didn't participate. But seeing all that, it's one of those things that seems like it's going to be sticking around for a while and it could become an annual thing. I heard some people talking about that, pretty openly, that it sounds like that's certainly the goal. And again, just judging from the vibes and just the attendance and just everything that was going on there, it does feel like this thing might be here to stay. And if it is, I will absolutely be back this upcoming season. I also should mention that in addition to the Rangers that I just talked about, prospect Brett Berard was also there. He participated. He was not, listed on the flyer or mentioned in any of the articles, but he was there. So it's great to see him showing up as well. Other pro hockey players included Emma Vlasic, Trevor Zegras, Kevin Shattenkirk, Sonny Milano, and quite a bit more in addition to those players I just mentioned. And HT40, again, for anybody who might not be familiar with it and what they're all about, they have what I would call a very simple yet a very, very powerful message and powerful kind of mission statement. And that's just to make sure that nobody feels alone, feels isolated. And the shoulder check, obviously that's a hockey term, but it kind of has double meaning here. It's actually a pretty clever name when you think about it. It's the physical motion of just, putting your hand on someone's shoulder, making sure they're okay. They actually did this before the national anthem. There was kind of an opening ceremony. There were player introductions. They were all on the ice there together. And the players and everybody in the stands alike, everybody, for that moment there, not really a moment of silence, but moment of solitude, I think we can call it. Everybody put their hand on somebody's shoulder next to them. So it was a really nice moment, just very powerful to see that many people unified. And again, I'm still kind of getting used to and familiar with the HT40 Foundation. But again, it was established in Hayden Thorsen's honor. And this is straight from the website. I figured they can explain it probably even a little bit better than I can. And this is what it says straight from the website, just so you guys have a feel of what this foundation is and what it's all about. Hayden was number 40 on the ice, but above all, he was a friend to all. He was a leader, the hand on your shoulder, the how's it going that let you know you weren't on your own. He was the thread between friends, strangers, and even competitors. Though he left us far too early, the way he lived his life is the guiding light of our foundation. And yeah, it's just great to, read that obviously, and then just know that there's a foundation that's been established, in his name, and pretty impressive and pretty even surreal to see that many people in Terry Connor's ice rink. And for anybody that might not be familiar with that rink, it's a rink in Stamford, Connecticut. And, I used to cover local sports around here. So I've been in there a bunch. It's been a while, but I've been in there quite a few times. I've never seen it packed like that. And I've been in there for, conference championships and I think maybe even a couple state playoff games. the high school scene, the local sports. But man, that place was absolutely packed to the rafters, and people lined up all around the entire rink. It's just really cool to see, and that many people showing up for, again, just a great event. I'm going to eventually, in today's episode, be talking about the game itself because it was a very entertaining game, very back and forth. I've got some video highlights for those of you watching on YouTube. I'm going to play that toward the end of today's episode. And while I'm talking about this event, I'd be remiss if I did not give a very special shout out to both Ken Smith and Rob Thorsen. Both of them were very accommodating and very welcoming to me. I emailed them about a week and a half ago and just kind of asked, would it be okay? Could I get like a media pass for this to go in there and just cover it for my podcast? And they were very, like I said, very welcoming and very open to it, and obviously let me do it. Didn't have any access to players this year, but we'll see about that going forward. And honestly, that would have just been a little bonus to me. Just being in that arena or that rink in any fashion, and just being part of that night was plenty for me. And it was obviously just fantastic to see that many people show up. I had no idea what to expect, but again, just an awesome event. And you show up at the rink, and they've got so much stuff outside. There's food trucks. There's, raffles and giveaways. There's a couple of like hockey related games that some people were playing. So that was just awesome to see. Everybody got a free t-shirt, and I should have grabbed it. I forgot to grab it before I hit record here, but I'll show it on the next episode. Bottom line, you get a t-shirt, and there's a little spot on the shoulder there, and you write your name on it. And it's just kind of goes back to that message of, the shoulder check, the hand on the shoulder kind of emotion, and just kind of making sure that everybody's okay. It's kind of like a pledge of solidarity and a pledge to watch each other's backs. And again, just a really cool thing. And again, I could not be more thrilled that I got to be even a small part of this last night. It was really, really great to see, and just a wonderful cause and an extremely entertaining hockey game, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. We will get to that in just a minute. But first, we do have to let everybody know that today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting on MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think will hit the first home run, all in an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you can get paid instantly. There is no better place to bet on MLB than on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That is FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. All right, we just want to go ahead and thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. And for the everydayers, you guys are going to want to stick around next week. We're going to get back into our best and worst case scenarios. It's basically just what it sounds like. We take a look at every single player on the New York Rangers and just kind of go over everything that could go right, everything that could go wrong for every single player for the upcoming season. In our next episode, we're going to focus on the three individuals who I believe will start the season as the Rangers' three right defensemen. And that would, of course, be Adam Fox, Jacob Trouba, and Braden Schneider. If any of them are not out there on opening night for any reason, I will be shocked. So those are the three players that we're going to hone in on in the next episode. And of course, we're going to continue to monitor the Alexis Lafreniere contract situation. He remains a restricted free agent, and we will see what happens there. But back to the shoulder check showcase here. And the game itself, they actually started the night. This is before the live stream started. And I'll actually, in the episode description, I'll go ahead and leave a link to the live stream. It's obviously not live anymore, but it was live. And you can now watch a replay of it if you didn't get a chance to catch it, the other night, last night. And if you're just curious to see what it was all about. It's very entertaining and just very well put together and very heartfelt as well. I can't imagine it could have gone any better than it did. It was a wonderful thing to be a part of. But before the stream started and before the professional hockey players got out there and participated in their game, there was actually a game of local players and entertaining game in its own right. They had a team of white jerseys. The team wearing white jerseys beat the team wearing black jerseys by a final score of 5-3. So, shout out to anybody that participated in that game and everyone in this game, as well as the shoulder check showcase, that featured the professional hockey players. Every single hockey player that stepped onto the ice on this night was wearing number 40, which was in tribute to Hayden Thorsen. He was a goalie, and he did indeed wear number 40 when he played hockey. So to kind of just take you guys through the night here, it starts off with Dave Maloney. He was on hand. He was the MC. He did an awesome job with this because, of course, he did. I mean, anybody that watches Ranger games, watches MSG Network, you guys know how good he is. And just as a quick aside here, MSG, man, is there a better sports network on the planet than MSG? When you look at the different people that they have as on-air talents, and really even the people behind the scenes as well. I mean, you've got Dave Maloney, you've got Sam and Joe, you've got Lundqvist, you've got Valakat, John Giannone does a great job, and I'm sure there's some others that I'm not remembering right off the top of my head here, but just what a fantastic network. We really are spoiled with these people, and as I mentioned, Dave Maloney was nice enough to MC this event. He did a fantastic job with it. And again, I am Ranger biased, of course, but show me any sports network with a better lineup of just all-star on-air personalities than MSG. And the people behind the scenes as well, they do a fantastic job as well. But, Maloney, he introduced all the players at the start of the night. When Mika Zibanejad came out into the ice, I love this. He just introduced him as Mika. Because he's Mika. We're on a first-name basis with Mika Zibanejad. He's our guy. All he said was from the New York Rangers, Mika. So that was pretty cool. And then after the introductions, he kind of addressed everybody, talked about the night ahead, and of course, the HT40 Foundation. And this is what he had to say. And this is also part of what leads me to believe that this is not the only time that this event is going to be happening. What Maloney said here was, "We are all part of the start of something special. A simple hand on the shoulder can make a profound difference in someone's life." And that's absolutely correct. And again, every sign that I saw at this place, it points to this becoming an annual event. And I really do hope that happens. And once again, if it does, you can count me in for this every single year. And if you didn't happen to catch it last night, definitely recommend going in the future. But as for the Ranger players that participate in this game, and I should elaborate on Jonathan Quick here for just a second, because I mentioned that he was there but didn't participate. He went onto the ice in street clothes before the game started, but was not participating in the hockey game. There was an annual event. It's not around anymore, but it ran for about 6 or 7 years in Stamford. It was called The Big Assist, and it was kind of similar to this. They would get professional hockey players there. Jonathan Quick was there multiple times. Guys like Cam Atkinson, Max Pacioretty. I know Kreider did it in the past as well. Marty St. Louis, who was a coach for this game last night, he participated as a player for the Big Assist, back in the day. But again, just great to see so many prominent players show up for something like this. As far as the rosters, I'm not going to go through every single player on both rosters, but I will let you know which Rangers played on which team. You had the black jerseys, which was Team Molson. It was called Team Molson because Matt Molson, former New York Islander, Buffalo Sabre, one or two other teams as well, he was coaching that team. And on that team, he had Mika Zibanejad and Brett Berard. And then you also had the team wearing white jerseys. That was known as Team St. Louis because Marty St. Louis was the head coach. He had Barclay Goodrow, Adam Fox, and Chris Kreider. So yes, to the shock of everyone, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider somehow not on the same team for this charity event. Jacob Trouba was interesting because he was some of the articles mentioned him, and I don't know if he had a conflict of some sort, but he was not there. I mean, Jacob Trouba would be pretty tough to miss. Did not attend this. But he's very charitable in his own right. We've seen him be very giving, throughout the years, really, since he's been in the NHL and certainly with the Rangers. And who knows, if this does happen again next year, maybe Trouba's there, maybe some more Rangers are there. We'll see how it goes. But as for this game, once again, everybody wearing number 40, obviously in tribute to Hayden Thorsen. The nice thing, though, was they all had the names on the back of their jerseys. So, everybody's wearing 40. It can make it a little bit difficult to figure out who's who. Some players stand out more than others. And obviously, this is not, Madison Square Garden. So even if you're in the back row, you have a pretty good look. And guys like Mika Zibanejad are going to stand out. He's got the hair flying, so he's pretty easy to pick out. But yeah, everybody had the name on the back of their jersey, so that made it quite a bit easier to figure out who was who. You also had a running clock throughout this game. So even when there's a play stoppage or, goal was scored, the clock just kept running. They skated 4 aside. And Mika Zibanejad, on his first shift of the game, he ended up scoring the first goal of the night. Went to the net, received a pass, got a little tipping goal, put his team up 1-0. Brett Berard scored not too long after this to give, which team was he on? He was on team... Was he on Molson? No, I got to look again. Okay, so he was on Team Molson. So at the time, that gave Team Molson a 2-1 advantage. And Berard ended up with actually a hat trick. It was at least 3 goals that he scored in this game. We're going to talk a little bit about Brett Berard in just a second. also had Cox made a really nice defensive play while he was defending a 3-on-1. And look, obviously, it's a charity game. These guys aren't out there, checking each other or anything like that. And defense is kind of lax. There aren't like epic board battles or anything like that going on. But Adam Fox, good defensive positioning, broke up a scoring opportunity. And then Trevor Zegras, he got, apart from the Rangers, because I think there were more Ranger fans there than any other team, Trevor Zegras, I would say, probably got the loudest reaction of anybody else. And, with good reason. He's one of the more exciting young players in the game, and somebody that the NHL has to make him a little bit more mainstream. You got to get to the point where even non-hockey fans have heard of some of the younger players in this league. Non-hockey fans, they know about Crosby and Ovechkin, but those two are getting up there a little bit. Sooner or later, you got to make sure the Zegrases are out there and the McDavids, the McKinnons, so on and so forth. We also had former New York Ranger Devin Shattenkirk scoring a goal. And we had just an absolutely crazy finish to this game. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I've also got a couple of video highlights that I want to play that I was able to record for some crazy stuff that happened at the end of this game. I don't want to give anything away. I just want to play the videos and, have you guys see for yourselves. Going to show those videos in a second and also talk about some of the more, lighthearted, fun, kind of quirky moments from this game. We'll get to all that good stuff in just a second. All right, so I mentioned a second ago that I wanted to talk a little bit about Brett Berard because, again, I had no idea that he was even going to be there until he was introduced before this game started, and it was cool to see him there. He ended up, like I said, with at least a hat trick. I mean, I wasn't really keeping stats. I don't think anybody was really keeping stats, although they did have shots on goal on the scoreboard, so that was cool to see. But yeah, Berard, by my count, he had at least 3 goals. He had a hat trick, 2 early goals, and then a very clutch late goal in the second period. They only played 2 periods, so the final period. And for anybody that might need a refresher regarding Brett Berard, the Rangers took him in the 5th round of the 2020 NHL draft. He went number 134 overall. He is a left winger, just 5'9", 165 pounds, but certainly a scrappy player. And it's interesting, man, because for a 5th rounder, I feel like on this podcast, we end up talking about him quite a bit. He's always popping up in one place or another. Obviously, he skated for the United States World Juniors team twice, won the gold medal with them the year that the U.S. won gold. Berard had a goal and 4 assists in 7 games. It was also a +8. His line was outstanding in that tournament. He's also coming off a solid junior season at Providence. He had 24 points in 36 games, actually a little bit of a step back from the season prior when he had 38 points in 36 games. But regardless, somebody that, seems to be developing okay. And Rangers will obviously have to keep their fingers crossed that they found something of a late round steal. We'll see if he ever makes his Ranger debut. He did make his Hartford Wolfpack debut this past season, played in 3 games there. No points, was also a +1. But somebody that's a little bit intriguing, and it'll be interesting to watch his development. And like I said, his name just seems to pop up. He just pops up here, pops up there. Last night in particular, like I said, I had no idea he was there, but there's Ranger prospect Brett Berard out there, playing in a charity game for a great cause. And, the fact that he went out of his way to participate in this, I think that just kind of adds to the likability factor and wanting to see him succeed. So, it's not easy. You're taking in the 5th round. You've got an uphill battle to even make it to the NHL, and then probably even more of an uphill battle to stick in the NHL. But we'll see if he can pull it off. It looks like he'll be starting this upcoming season with the Hartford Wolfpack. But as far as some of the quirkier, lighthearted moments in the game, this is obviously, again, it was very casual. Nobody's checking. Nobody's like unleashing these crazy slap shots or anything like that. There weren't any penalties, although there could have been one called. I'll get to that in just a second. But as far as some of the quirkier, more fun moments from this game, so the game actually started before they dropped the puck for the opening faceoff. Each team got to attempt a shootout. You had Trevor Zegras for Team St. Louis. He did not score. Sonny Milano then for Team Molson. He did score. So before the opening faceoff, Team Molson had a 1-0 lead. So when I said that Mika Zibanejad scored the first goal, what I actually meant was that he scored the first goal, during actual hockey, not that impromptu shootout that kicked everything off in this game. There was also another funny moment, and I kind of missed it because I just happened to be looking down at my phone for a second, but there was a face-off, and it was Mika versus Kreider, and after it happened, the two of them, I just caught the very tail end of it, but it looked like they were kind of like pushing each other a little bit, obviously just joking around, but that was kind of funny to see. So there was that. There was also an instance, this cracked me up, man. The net during play came off the moorings, And, any level of hockey, the net comes off the moorings, you're blowing the whistle and we got a face-off coming and they got to fix it. But the goalie and the referee alike were both trying to fix the net and put it back on the moorings while the play was continuing. And it's not like the puck was on the other side of the rink either. It was in that zone. So, the other team is like making all these passes, trying to set up a scoring opportunity. You get the goalie and the referee both trying to put the net back on the moorings. So that kind of cracked me up. I thought that was pretty funny. And then they just stopped doing face-offs after a goal was scored. Like early in the game, they were doing face-off. A team scores a goal, you get the face-off at center ice. Standard hockey at any level, right? Well, after a little while, particularly in the second period, and again, there were only 2 periods played, but a team would score a goal, and then it almost went to basketball rules. Like in basketball, a team makes a basket. The team that gave up the basket, you just inbound the ball and you keep going. That's basically what this was here. A team would score a goal, and the team that gave up the goal would just fish the puck out of the net, and they would just skate back up the ice, and play would just continue. And that was just kind of funny to see as well. I mean, you're certainly not going to see that any, official organized game of hockey, but this was a very special night, a very special game, and obviously a charity hockey game. And I don't know whose idea that was. I don't know if they just called it on the fly and they just said, let's just start doing this to save some time. I don't know, but it was pretty cool to see, and I think appropriate for a game like this. And then there was this moment. This is what I alluded to just a second ago. This was not a funny moment. It kind of scared me for a second. So Kreider, and I don't know who he was tangled up with, but there were 2 players going for the net. One of them obviously was Kreider, and he got tripped down to the ice and kind of went, sliding across the ice. And, the crowd reacted. A couple players on his team, put their arm up looking for a penalty to be called. No penalty called. Kreider got back up and was completely fine. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared at least for a second there. That's the last thing the Rangers need, is to be, losing somebody to an injury in any kind of exhibition game, whether it's the preseason or a charity game such as this. But he looked no worse for the wear. He got up after that and, had an impact in the finish of this game. I don't want to give it too much away right now because we're going to play the video in a little bit here. In fact, we're going to play the video pretty much right now. We had, just like I said, an awesome, fantastic, nail-biting finish to this game. I mean, again, all the stuff happening on the ice, it's very, very secondary to obviously the cause and the HT40 Foundation and the shoulder check showcase, and all the money that was raised in honor of Hayden Thorsen and the HT40 Foundation. But it was a very exciting game. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. But you had a situation, obviously very high scoring, not a ton of defense being played. Berard comes up with a clutch goal for his team, Team Molson. He scores with about a minute remaining to make the score 9-8 in his team's favor. So it looks like this might be the game-winning goal. But then Team St. Louis pulls its goalie for the 5-on-4 down the stretch. Time's running out. A matter of seconds left. Clock is about to run out. You've got Sonny Milano sending the puck to the center of the ice, and Adam Fox is there in front of the net, deflects it into the twine with maybe about 2 seconds to go in the game. And I don't know why I just said all that, because I actually have a video of it. I should have played the video first, but you know what? Live and learn. Here's that goal by Adam Fox. Everybody watching on YouTube can enjoy. And if you're on audio, you can check it out on YouTube later. Or, for now, just enjoy the sounds of hockey, because I think we all miss hockey for sure. Here you go. So there you go, a clutch game-tying goal by Adam Fox with, about 2 seconds remaining. And again, the clock was running all throughout. So by the time I looked, it was on zeros. But, I saw the clock was running out. Couldn't have been more than literally 2 seconds remaining when Fox tied this game. And when it ended, it's funny because I watched the rebroadcast or parts of it on YouTube this morning just to kind of see what I missed. And you can hear them, once this happened, nobody really knew what to do. Are we going to play an overtime period, a little 3-on-3 action? Are we going to go right to the shootout? And it was decided upon. I don't even know who was talking because you could hear the voices, but you couldn't see who was saying it. It might have, I'm not really sure who it was, but bottom line, they decided to go with the shootout, a 5-round shootout. You had fans after Adam Fox scored, they were chanting shootout, shootout. And indeed, that's what we get, a 5-round shootout. And Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, they both participated in the shootout. They both shot third for their respective teams. And when they both took their opportunity, it was 0-0. The first round of the shootout occurred, nobody scored. The second round of the shootout occurred, nobody scored. So it's still 0-0. And now I'm going to play a video of Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad attempting their shots in the shootout. So here you go. Enjoy. So there you have it. And for anybody listening on audio, what happened there, Chris Kreider scored just an unreal goal on the shootout. He basically almost back skated toward the net, and just a ridiculous move. If you didn't get a chance to, watch it, you're listening on audio right now. It's definitely worth checking out on YouTube a little bit later if you have time to do it. Great goal by Kreider. And then Mika was attempting something fancy on the other side of the ice, but he lost control of the puck. And so it's Team St. Louis led 1-0 after the 3 rounds. And then nobody scored in round 4. And then in round 5, Team St. Louis scored first, and you had John Hayden of the Seattle Kraken scoring top shelf. So that ended it, made it 2-0. And Team Molson didn't get its last shot because they were down by 2 goals and couldn't win it anyway. So that's pretty much how it wrapped up. But again, just a wonderful night. All the players, were shaking hands, hugging on the ice once everything ended. And, I gave a shout out earlier in today's episode to Ken Smith. I just realized I got an email from him. And, basically today before I recorded, I reached out to him to ask him if he knew, how much money was raised during this whole thing and how many people were in attendance. He doesn't have those exact figures yet, but this is what he said to me in his email. From 33 years here, I could say we were right around 2,000 souls, maybe a bit more. Do not know in regards to funds raised, but I think they did okay. Keep those podcasts going. Let's go Rangers. Yes, indeed. Let's go Rangers. And just a wonderful night. And I know I've said this multiple times throughout this episode, but if they keep holding this event, I cannot recommend it enough. And I will certainly be back next year and for however many years that they want to keep doing this. I think it's something that could become a really cool annual tradition. I figure we could pretty much call it there for today. I did want to mention, though, Derek Stepan stories. For anybody that still wants to have their story read on a future episode of Locked On New York Rangers, you're going to want to go ahead and, send those stories to me. Either email them to me or DM them to me. Don't leave them in the YouTube comments section because they'll get lost in the shuffle there. Either email them or DM them to me. And I will read those stories on a future episode of Locked On New York Rangers. Really looking forward to doing that. And for anybody that needs further clarification there, I'm referring to when Derek Stepan scored in overtime in Game 7 against the Washington Capitals in 2015. We did a very similar episode last year with Artemi Panarin. Going to do the same thing this year with the Derek Stepan goal. Hear a whole bunch of different stories from you guys. And then the last thing I want to mention, the Locked On New York Rangers Fantasy Hockey League. Once again, I am, for the time being, if you played last year, all you have to do is reach out, email me, DM me, let me know, hey, I'm coming back this year. I want to play again. And you're in. That's all you have to do. A lot of you have already done that. Those of you that haven't done it should do it soon because pretty soon I'm going to open the door to some people that have reached out to me that did not play last year. We're holding their spots in line. So that's kind of where things stand. I'm going to give everybody from last year another week or two here, but that's it. After that, we're going to open the door to some new players and get them into the league as well. But that will do it for today, guys. Once again, if you'd like to get in touch with this podcast, please send an email to lockedonnyrangers@gmail.com. Once again, that is LockedOnNYRangers@gmail.com. Definitely give us a follow on Twitter as well, at LO_NY_Rangers. Once again, it's at LO_NY_Rangers. And definitely subscribe to Locked On New York Rangers YouTube channel. Thanks again, guys. I will see you next time.